Carry on the Rashi. What do you mean? Should be for your appeasement, for your acceptance.
means
if you offer it in this way, it will be for acceptance, will be act as an appeasement for you. Okay? Now, first of all, before we actually go into the next Rashi, because Rashi is a famous Rashi, which quotes from the Gemara. Okay? But let's see the Rashi inside. Lemachros HaShabbos.
Lemachros HaShabbos.
What does that mean? Right, that means the day after the Yom Tov, first Yom Tov of Pesach. And that is called Shabbos. The first day of Yom Tov is called Shabbos. She'im ata omer Shabbos Bereishis, if you say it's referring to the day after Shabbos, meaning Shabbos, a day of Shabbos, Iyata Yudea Ezer. You don't know which one you're referring to. Because it says the day after the Shabbos. Which Shabbos are you referring to?
Oh, you mean which
Which one is it referring to? Ha-Shabbos.
Yes.
Right? It could be any one of 50 in an average year. Whatever. So therefore, now there are first a number of questions present themselves over here. If it's referring to Yom Tov, of first day of Yom Tov, why does the Torah describe it as Shabbos? And as a result of that caused such a controversy. This was a major controversy between the Chachamim and the Siddukim, the Sadducees. Okay? And it caused a lot of dispute among Klal Yisrael, because the Sadducees always tried to wangle the calendar that it should always, first day of Pesach should always fall on Shabbos, to see, you see, we're right. Anyway, that's one thing. The other thing is, it's very strange. It's a similar question to what we had last week in regard to Yom Kippur, the avodah of the Kohen Gadol. What's the pasuk say? When you come to the land and I give you and you harvest its harvest, you shall bring your own offering, and you shall wave the offering. By the way, this is all talking about the day after the first day thing. It should say at the beginning. B'machros HaShabbos, Tavi Esay Mereshis K'tzir Kam L'Akei. V'niv Yisrael V'nei Hashem L'Tzolechem. Like all of a sudden, like an afterthought, B'machros HaShabbos Yinifei L'Akei. After discussing it for 2 psukim already, very strange. And also, why is Yom Tov, the first day of Yom Tov, referred to as Shabbos? Okay, so as far as the second question is concerned, why Yom Tov is referred to as Shabbos, it's interesting. Why is Shabbos called Shabbos? Yeah, but the whole point is as a way of declaring, affirming, let's put it a better word, affirming that Ki Sheishis Yomim Asa Hashem Es Hashemayim Yisraelet, V'yom Hashvi Shabbos V'yom Nofash. Okay? In a similar way, the first day of Pesach, which commemorates when HaKodesh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim, is also an affirmation that HaKodesh Baruch Hu is in control of the world. Okay? Yeah. The Shabbos Bereishis is an affirmation that HaKodesh Baruch Hu created the world. But who says L'maisa that HaKodesh Baruch Hu is still constantly taking care of the world? Maybe I just created the world and just said, okay, let the world carry on, press autopilot, and everything's going to take care of itself now. Yetzias Mitzrayim that affirmed that HaKodesh Baruch Hu wasn't just the creator of the world, but he's also constantly in charge every single moment. HaKodesh Baruch Hu every single day, or every single moment, so HaKodesh Baruch Hu is taking care of the world, constantly pulling the strings every second of the day.
They say that there was no latest life for 1,000 years, right?
What?
That was 6,000.
It's not going to exist anymore? No, certainly as we know it. What would be the state of the world then? I don't know. But the point is that in that respect, and that's why there are three things that's called Shabbos. There's Shabbos Bereshis, known as Shabbos, first day of Pesach, and we find by Shemitah, next week's Parsha, the 7th year, the Shemitah year, is called Shabbos Lashem.
Right.
Because similarly as well, no, HaKodesh Baruch Hu is also affirming that HaKodesh Baruch Hu, what was the third aspect? Shabbos Yelad, Shabbos Lashem, Sod Cholei Sizra, V'cham Cholei Sizma. So I can't remember what I wanted to say over here. There's three aspects of Shabbos. First one, that Shabbos, HaKodesh Baruch Hu created the world. Second Shabbos is that HaKodesh Baruch Hu is continual basis. The third one, I can't remember what the third one was, but to do with Shvius. I don't remember now. Okay, but anyway, but that's
the most important too.
What?
Probably the most important.
Could be. Anyway, you see, I just want to see these three aspects.
Yom Kippur, Shabbos, Shabbaton.
Yeah, that's also, but but that is really, Yom Kippur is called Shabbos Shabboso. You find that as well. But every Yom Tov is also called Shabbos. By the way, that's pshat when we say in the Haftorah of Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. It's the last, should we say, the penultimate pasuk of Sefer Yeshaya. We say that and we read it in the last pasuk of the Haftorah on Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. V'ayah midei Chodesh b'chodshoi, midei Shabbos b'shabbatoi, yovoi chobos v'ishtachavos lefanecha Hashem. It will be every Chodesh and every Shabbos. So the Mefarshim explain over there, that Shabbos cannot be referring to Shabbos Bereshis. You don't come once a week. Why? What's the raya? Because you wouldn't speak like that. It says, you should say every Chodesh means once a month. Every Medei Shabbos b'Shabbatoi. 1 second. You said once a month. You're not going to say, well, now, you know what? Every week. Right? You always say the smaller thing once a week and then once a month. Right? Not once a month and then once a week. Right? So the Mefarshim explained over there that Shabbos there is referring to Yom Tov. Every Yom Tov is called Shabbos. So he says, every once, every month. Shabbos b'Shabbat, and every Yom Tov, Yovel Chobos v'ishtachavos lefanei Hashem.
Okay, that's very common both.
Right. Anyway, not only Pesach is called Yom Tov, but every Yom Tov is called Shabbos. Not only Pesach is called Shabbos, but every Yom Tov is also called Shabbos. Okay. Let's continue. Mordechai, Pasuk Yud Beis.
Asisem biyom hanifchem es ha'omer kevesh kamim ben shinaso.
Keves, not kevesh. Okay. Yeah, keves tamim ben shnaso la'oila l'Hashem. Okay. Vasisem. Let's translate. Yeah. You shall really make, right? Which means you shall carry out the offering. B'yom hanifchem esem, on the day that you wave the omer, keves tomim ben shnoser la'oila l'Hashem. A sheep, a perfect sheep, means an unblemished sheep, ben shnoser, in its first year, la'oila, as a burnt offering l'Hashem. Okay, says Rashi. Okay, vasisem keves. You see the Rashi here? Yud Beis. You have the Rashi? 4 lines from the bottom of the first column. Yeah?
Asisem keves chuva la'omer.
Huba. Now this comes as an obligatory offering together with the omer. Now why Rashi is pointing that out is this is not one of the regular musaf. It's not part of the musaf offering. It's a separate korban. It's a separate offering.
Oh.
Okay? Whereas there was a musaf offering. And besides that, they waved the omer, they brought the omer offering. And together with that, they brought a separate burnt offering sheep. That's what we're referring to over here.
Right.
Keves Tom Shlosev Omer. This is on the 2nd and the 16th of Nisan, the second day of Pesach. One thing I wanted to mention as well, I forgot to mention it over here. I forgot what I wanted to say. Yes, this is Doicha Shabbos. According to our fixing the calendar, it doesn't ever work out that way. But technically, if first day of Pesach was on a Friday, then the 16th of Nisan was on a Shabbos. They would harvest the omer on Shabbos. They would grind the omer on Shabbos. They would roast it on Shabbos. Everything which they're supposed to do, they would do on Shabbos. And yeah. I think we learn now from the Pasuk, Mimochras HaShabbos, Kinifen HaKohen, is even on Shabbos. Okay. Yeah, that's the Rashi. Shlomo, Pasuk Yud Gimel. Uminchasai.
Uminchasai Shnei. Escolives, Solet, Olula, Beshemen, Sheh, Shem, Reat, Omak, but this Ko, Yayin, Evi, Ahin. This is its Mincha offering.
Right.
Is two, what do you say?
Esrogim, which are tenths.
Two
tenths. It means 2 tenths of
barley.
It doesn't say barley. Soiles means fine, what should we say, fine quality flour. Belula Vashemen mixed with oil.
Mixed with oil. And it's brought as an offering.
Fire offering Hashem, which means it's going to be burnt on the Mizbeach.
Right.
Reach Nichoyach.
And with a
as a pleasing aroma.
Pleasing aroma.
The Nisko Yayin, and it's
a container of
Nisko, it's poured offering, it's a drink offering, should be wine, Revi'is Ahin, a quarter of a hin. Okay. Now, what is interesting is, and this is what Rashi is going to point out, generally, it mentioned it in Parshas Shlach Lecha, in the Parshas Shlach Lecha, the rule of thumb was the meal offering and the poured offering of every ox was as follows. The rule of thumb was every ox, par or poro, had a certain number, a certain size of meal offering. Every ram had a certain size, certain quantity and amount of meal offering, and every sheep had a certain size, a certain amount of a meal offering.
Right.
And the rule of thumb was as follows: for every cow, for every bull or cow, like par was shlosha esrogim, la'ayil was shnei esrogim, and for keves was isorim, was only one isorim. In fact, that's what we say in the Siddur. In the Chasam Iskem Kum D'Bar, shlosha esrogim la'par, shnei esrogim la'ayil, isorim la'keves. Right? That's what you think. Here, even though this was a keves,
Right.
you brought 2 esrogim. Okay, so this is what Rashi is going to point out.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Minchas.
Nisachah.
Okay, now what Rashi means is, Minchas Nesacha means that together with every korban, that we have found this by the Musafim, and we find it by the korban Tomid, okay? In fact, all korbanos, with the exception of Chatois, okay, have a mincha and a nesach together with it. Mincha is a meat offering, and a nesach is a pork offering, a wine offering. Okay?
And you said that it depends on the size of the
right. So that's what
animal.
Rashi says. Right. So technically, a keves should only have Isoron, one Isoron, and that's what Rashi says.
A bull is 3/4.
No, bull is 3 Esronim.
Oh.
3 tenths. 3 tenths.
1/10 to 3/10. So
and an ayil, a ram, is 2 tenths, and a keves is only 1/10.
right.
And 1 Isoron. And here, where we have that, even though it's a keves, you bring Shnei Esrainim. You brought 2 tenths. So that's what Rashi says. Over here, Fula Haisa, it was double than the regular amount.
Okay. That's Kafula Haisa.
It was double. It was double than the regular amount. Okay, when you score Yayin,
Let's go Yayin, we're going to eat Ahi.
there's only a reverse. Now let me point out over here as follows. The Torah says that when a bull, you have 3 Esrainim, 3 tenths, together with Chetzi Ahi. Okay?
What is it?
Yes. Yes, right.
This is the wine.
Yeah, the wine. And also the amount of oil mixed together was Chetzi Ahi. So let's think about it. You have, let's divide.
So this is compared to the sheep that we choose with the eye on.
Really, you have to divide it into 12ths. But anyway, I'll explain it to you this way. You have a third of a hin.
Right.
Okay? So for 3 tenths of flour, you had a third of a hin of oil. Sorry, a half a hin of oil. For 3 tenths of flour,
so
you had half. Then for 2 tenths, you had a third of a hin of oil. And similar third of a hin of wine.
So it's only going down a third in the case of...
Well, no, so the Maisa, that's why I wanted to compare it to 12, so you see, you'll see it's double. And then when you had a 1/10, right, you had a quarter of a hin of oil and correspondingly a quarter of a hin of wine. So now if you give the amounts in 12ths, okay, how much is half a hin in 12ths is 6/12. So for 3 Esrainim, you had 6/12 of oil. Okay? For 2 tenths, you had a third of the hin, which is 4/12. So that is corresponding. 6 for 3, 4 for 2. Okay, now technically, you should have for 1, you had only 2, which means 1/6. Right? But the Maisa wasn't like that. You had 1/4, which is more than that. It's 3/12 rather than only 2/12.
Oh, 3/12, so it's a quarter.
So that's a quarter. So that's what you had for a sheep.
Yeah.
Okay? But anyway, what Rashi's pointing out
So it's roughly corresponding, but not really.
Yeah, because for a sheep, in Maisa, you had relatively more oil and more wine than you would have had for the other 2. Okay? Now, let's sorry?
Why more?
It didn't require more because the amount of
Just the way it was.
yeah, I mean, you required more. It didn't, as far as the mixtures go, it didn't require more. But the Torah prescribes you have to put in more. When you score yain u'v'yisayim,
Okay. Afilu.
Afapi.
Oh.
Afapi.
Although.
Shemichosoi fula
is double. Ein nisakav pa'ulim.
Kefuli.
The wine, whatever.
It's wine.
Is not double.
Right, meaning.
Okay.
So it's interesting. From Rashi's mashma, how much oil was mixed with the 2 Esrainim?
No.
So I would have said, just like a ram, you have 2 Esrainim and a third of a hin of oil. So too, over here in this particular case, you had 2 Esrainim. Wherever you have 2 Esrainim, you need a third of a hin of oil. Right. However, the wine wasn't a third, which would have been corresponding, but it was only a quarter of a hin. Okay?
So after this, we're going to have a math test. We're going to put it on the board, and we're going to see how
How it compares.
the percentages might be interesting actually.
But anyway, relatively, so the ratio, as far as a bull is concerned and a ram is concerned, were the same. Okay?
Right.
But when you came to the sheep, there was relatively more oil and more wine in ratio. Okay. Next.
Maybe because the sheep has relatively more meat. than
a ram or a bull? No, a bull has.
No, not a bull, but a ram certainly. Huh?
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, because we said that the ram was pretty much in order.
The ram has quite a bit of meat. I don't have really much less than that, but sheep
a sheep should have a lot.
I mean, the females have more. Ewes have more meat than the rams.
I think so.
I don't know. It's all the wool there.
And you know, all that wool, it's pretty prosperous looking.
Right. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay. Yisromer, Pasuk Yud Dalet. Lechem v'koli v'charmel.
Lechem v'koli v'charmel. Bread and koli v'charmel.
Koli is roast. Rashi is going to explain. Is roast. Flour made from roasted grain. Carmel, these are the actual grains themselves. No, so you mustn't eat ad etzem hayom hazeh, until this very day. Ad haviachem, until you have brought korban Elokeichem, the offering of your God. Chukas olam l'deroseichem. It's an everlasting statute for your generations, wherever you live. Now, okay? Now Rashi is going to explain things. Okay, let's translate. We just translate it. Okay, let's see the Rashi. Soy mikarmel rach shemiyabshin oisoi betanu. Now it's interesting, it's as follows. I don't know if you're ever familiar how wheat is harvested in a general. Normally it's already fully ripe.
Right, you have to cut it, you have to cut it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, yeah, but even when it's ripe, you don't harvest it straight away. It's normally left in the field to dry out.
Right.
And then when it's dry, because you want the grain to be dry.
Yeah, so you don't
know. So not only that, but it's much easier to grind and to first of all to winnow and to thresh, winnow, grind, everything. The whole process is much easier when the grain is dried out somewhat. You don't want it totally dried out.
Right.
Somewhat dried out. Therefore, when it's fresh, right? When it's fresh, even though it's fully ripe, it's fully grown to its full size, you don't want to do that yet because the process it's not easy to process it that way. Okay.
You can't work with it.
Right. But however, there's another option. This is what Rashi says what they did here. This was Koli, was they took the fresh grain, which hadn't yet dried out, okay, and they instead of waiting it till it dried out, they put it in an oven, and it was like slowly, and they dried it that way.
Right.
Okay, that's called Koli.
Oh,
That's called Koli. Means it's flour made from such grain which has been, should we say, artificially dried out.
Right.
Okay?
And it probably the information that they had grain in time for the
Could be,
holiday.
right, could be.
Because it
But
rained
no,
like that.
okay. Caramel is,
I'm surprised it's not from wine.
yeah, you know, actually caramel comes from the same thing. Kloya shekurim granilis. Okay? Is these are the actual kernels of grain, of wheat. Shekurim granilis. Granules.
Yeah. Oh.
Granules comes from the same word. Okay? Now, the Pasuk's telling you, you mustn't eat them ad etzem hayom hazeh. Ad aviachem es korban Elokeichem. Now, there's somewhat of a contradiction over here. It says you mustn't eat them till this very day, till you bring the offering of your God. So 1 second. The Torah is telling you something over here. And this is what we call, it's a HaKodesh. New grain Let's say you harvest grain after Purim time. You're not allowed to eat from that grain till after the 16th of Nisan. Now, what do we do? So when they offered, it says, Ad aviachem es korban elokechem, till you offer the korban of your God. So when they had, it was a Beis Hamikdash, and they offered the Omer offering, so then, okay, once they offered the Omer offering, then they could eat from the new produce. What do we do nowadays? Nowadays we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, we can't offer the Omer offering. When are we allowed to eat from the new produce? No. So the pasuk says, "Ad etzem hayom hazeh," till this very day. So Chazal darshan as follows.
Oh, you can't eat it anymore because you don't have the time.
1 second. The Torah says as follows: if you have a Beis Hamikdash, then you've got to wait till you offer the offering of the Beis Hamikdash. If you don't have a Beis Hamikdash, then you've got to wait till this very day. And Chazal explained that means when there's no Beis Hamikdash midaraisa, as soon as dawn, day of the 16th of Nisan happens, then you can already eat from the new produce. However, Chazal said, no, we don't want this, we're not going to allow you to eat on the 16th of Nisan itself. Why? Because what's going to happen? Let's say this year, right, we'd have allowed people to eat from the 16th of Nisan itself. Well, what's going to happen? Next year, Be'ez Hashem, to be a Beis Hamikdash, and people will say, you know what, last year we ate as soon as 16th of Nisan, as soon as it was dawn of 16th of Nisan, we were allowed to eat from the new produce. So now next year, when there is a Beis Hamikdash, there's a Hashem, right, so they're going to eat, as soon as it's 16th of Nisan, they're going to eat straight away. You don't want that because you have to wait till they bring the korban. So the Rabbanon, Chachamim said, no, with Rabbanon, you've got to wait till the end of the 16th day. Meaning till sunset of the 16th day, only then are you allowed to eat from the new produce. And that's the halacha nowadays. That if you have new grain that's harvested before Pesach, you've got to wait till after the 16th of Nisan to be able to eat from it. And that's called Issa Chodesh.
How's that solving the problem?
Huh?
How's that solving the problem?
Because this year, Tavshin Ayin Ches, I waited till the end of 16th of Nisan. Next year, Beis Hamikdash, okay, now it's a new thing. We'll bring the korban. Straight away I can eat the korban. But I'm not going to chashash, I'm going to eat before the korban.
Why?
Because last year, when did I have to wait till? Till the end of the 16th of Nisan. When did you bring the korban? On the 16th of Nisan. On that day itself.
Oh, that's always.
That's always. Okay? Now, the Maisa, one has to be interesting. One has to be careful nowadays that any grain that has been harvested, and nowadays you can eat when you have winter wheat or oats or other grain, which has. So let me explain as follows: if it was planted before, if it was planted before Pesach, then this year's Omer offering says, okay, you can already eat from that produce, even if it's only going to be harvested, let's say, August, September, October, doesn't make a difference. If it's been planted, the grain has been planted before Pesach, then this year's Omer offering permits that grain. The problem is, if it was planted after Pesach, you've got to wait till the following Pesach for the following Omer to permit that kind of that grain.
I mean, you're going to store it till then.
Right. So now, what can happen now is it's not uncommon. You have winter wheat or oats and things like that, where they are planted after Pesach. That's the point, and they're already harvested before the following Pesach. So on that there is applies the Issa of Chodesh. What is most commonly, a problem with oats. So, because wheat mostly is, the way it's processed or whatever, is that even if it is planted after Pesach and harvested it before the following Pesach, it doesn't reach the market till a few months after it's been harvested. It's been harvested, and turned into grain. Because till it gets, there's a whole process till it gets to the what do you call it? To the place where they grind it. What's it called?
No.
The mill,
Mill.
right?
Right.
Till it gets to the mill, and the thing is, it's a process, a time process. Where it is most of a problem is with oats, and therefore that's why if you notice, I don't know if we have a can of oats over here. There's some of those who have a hechsher on it say quite clearly, Yoshan, it's old, which means it's not Chodesh. Doesn't mean necessarily so old, right? It means it's not Chodesh. Okay?